Assalamu alaikum students. Today I am going to discuss you one of the most important topic of this chapter, which is Rutherford atomic model. Students, Rutherford atomic model was one of the experimental work which was performed by Rutherford in 1911, and he did an experimental work in order to explain the structure of atom. Now what was his experiment? So Rutherford took a 10 gold metal foil and bombarded it with alpha radiations which were coming from polonium, radium or radon source. You can see here in the diagram, this is polonium source, which is shielded and lead, and now the radiations are focused on 10 metal gold foil. After the focusing or after the hitting or after the bombardment, three observations were observed. So most of the radiation passed undisturbed or undeflected. You can see here, these are the undisturbed or undeflected radiation. The radiation which were bombarded through 10 metal gold foil were around about 20,000. Among those radiations, 19,990 radiations were passed undeflected. Some of the radiations which were round about 8 out of 20,000 were deflected at larger. You can see here, these were the deflected radiation at larger angle, while very few radiations which were 2 out of 20,000 were bounced back. So this was the experimental work of Rutherford. This is known as zinc sulfide foil, which was taken as a photographic film, or you can say fluorescent screen, okay, which was used in order to detect or in order to see the radiations after the emission of light. So this was the experiment of Rutherford. Now after the experimental work, Rutherford concluded some observation, or you can say Rutherford draws some of the postulates or some of the points. In this diagram you can also see the experimental work in detail. Some of the radiations, most of the radiation या अल्फा पार्टिकल जो है वो पास हो गए थे अनडिफ्लेक्टेड, कुछ अल्फा पार्टिकल लार्ज एंगल पर डिफ्लेक्ट हो गए थे और कुछ पार्टिकल जो थे वो बहुत कम थे, वो बाउंस बैक हो गए थे, ठीक है। तो उसके बाद रदरफोर्ड ने जो एक्सपेरिमेंटल पॉइंट्स या उसकी जो पोस्टुलेट है वो कुछ इस तरह से कि जो ज़्यादा रेडिएशन पास्ट हो गए, ठीक है, मोस्ट ऑफ द रेडिएशन दैट वर फास्ट, so they passed because there are a lot of empty spaces inside the atom, while few radiations were deflected at larger angles. So this is because of the nucleus refulsion, ठीक है, those radiation which were passing with the nucleus, so they were repelled and at larger angle, while very small or very few radiation that were hitting the nucleus, so that were bounced back. Rutherford gives some points which is called postulate, or you can say which are called the main points. So these points were: number one, atom consists of positively charged central portion called nucleus. That is, nucleus is present inside in the center, which is present in the center of the atom, and which contain proton and neutrons. The second point was electrons are revolving around the nucleus in specific shells or orbits which are present around the nucleus. Third point was the electron revolving around the nucleus would require centripetal force, and the electrons which are revolving around the nucleus in the shells, this is because of centripetal force. This was the point that was rejected after the Bohr model, but it was the point that were put forwarded by the Rutherford in his own model. The fourth point was the size of the nucleus is very small as compared to the size of the atom, and most of the volume occupied by the atom is empty. So there are a lot of empty spaces inside the atom, and the size of nucleus is very small as compared to the size of atom. And one of the important point was that atom is electrically neutral, that is the nuclear charge in the positive, the number of protons are equal to the number of electrons. So atom is electrically neutral, there are equal number of protons and electron which cancel out each other, so an atom is electrically neutral. And the last point was nucleus is responsible for mass and energy of the atom. Rutherford atomic model was totally based on planetary model. This is that is just like a planetary model. Rutherford said that just like planets, electrons revolve around the nucleus in a specific shells. So it was compared with the planetary model, after which this point was rejected by Bohr, because we cannot assign the planetary motion for the charged particle or extremely small particle. It will only assign for the heavy bodies, just like planets, which is Earth, Neptune, and different planets which are revolving around the nucleus. So this was the main points. These were the main points of Rutherford atomic model. After that, some points were accepted while some points were rejected.